It wasn't until I, the clingy girlfriend who had stopped bugging him about meeting my parents for over 10 days, that Ryan finally realized something was wrong. He abruptly left his secretary's side, pulled out his phone, and started dialing my number frantically. But no matter how many times he called, he couldn't get through. He opened his messaging app and tried to send me a message, but the moment he hit send, a red exclamation mark popped up. Ryan began pacing back and forth like a madman. Then, as if something had just occurred to him, he jumped into his car and sped all the way to the office. When he found the HR manager, he asked, "Has Emma still not shown up for work today?" The HR manager looked puzzled. "You don't know? She submitted her resignation the day after the gala. You signed it yourself." Those words hit Ryan like a thunderbolt. He stood frozen on the spot, stunned. Only then did he remember that day wasn't just the company's 5th anniversary, it was also the 27th time he had promised to meet my parents. But at the celebration, I was forced to drink by our business partners until I vomited blood. And he used the excuse that he couldn't handle the sight of blood, grabbed his secretary, and left in a hurry. I was taken to the hospital to have my stomach pumped, and the man who claimed to love me didn't even look back once. The colleagues who stayed by my side showed their discontent, saying I didn't deserve this. They all knew exactly who I had drunk myself sick for. That evening, the man who promised to meet my family once again broke his word. Outside the hospital, just as I was about to get into a car, a hand reached out and stopped me. I just took Lily to the riverside to light some fireworks. She caught a cold from the wind, so I'm taking her home first. Let's reschedule meeting your parents. Next time, wear something cleaner, and we'll set another time. So it turned out he hadn't come to the hospital for me. He was only there because Lily had caught a cold. And this time, the reason he bailed was because I had thrown up on my clothes from drinking, and I wasn't presentable enough. Lily leaned out of the car window, putting on an apologetic expression, and said, "Sorry, Emma, it's all my fault. My body's just too fragile. Please don't be mad at Mr. Parker, okay?" If it were the past, I would have cried, yelled, and broken down. I would have demanded to know whether my stomach being pumped was worse or her catching a cold, whether I mattered more or she did. But this time, I just nodded and said calmly, "Drive safe." Ryan looked at me in surprise, clearly not expecting my reaction. His gaze flickered briefly before turning cold again. "It's good that you're not overreacting. Lily's family is one of our company's major clients. I'm doing this for business." He always used that excuse to justify his favoritism toward Lily in front of everyone. But her so-called important client family didn't even bring in 1/10 the performance I did for the company. Lying becomes a habit. And when you lie to others long enough, you start lying to yourself too. Inside the car, Ryan gently patted Lily on the head, then considerately fastened her seatbelt for her. He had never done anything like that for me. Even when I acted cute or begged, he would only reply, "You're too old for that. Don't be gross." Now I realize it wasn't the act that disgusted him. It was me. The warm April breeze brushed against my skin, but my heart felt cold. I finally understood this 9-year relationship with Ryan had reached its end. A luxury car pulled up in front of me. I forced a smile and got in. "Mom, Dad, I'll go back to France with you. I want to settle down overseas." "You should have done that a long time ago," my mom snapped. "That boyfriend of yours, Ryan, is completely unreliable. We came here 7 times and he bailed every single time. And even when you were in the hospital, he didn't stay with you." I couldn't bring myself to tell them that I wasn't sick. I had gotten my stomach pumped. That Ryan had come to the hospital, but only to leave again with his secretary. And I especially didn't dare tell them that he hadn't ditched me just 7 times, but 27. The other 20 times, I never had the courage to say anything. "You stayed in this country all these years for him," my dad said with a deep sigh, full of regret. "You supported his startup, stood by him through everything. I thought you two would be like your mom and me, build something together, get married, have kids. But it's been 9 years. Maybe it's time to let go. How many 9 years does a person get?" Yeah, I gave Ryan the best 9 years of my life. But the truth was undeniable. He was just a passerby in my life. And no matter how important a passerby may seem, they're still just passing through. He was never going to be the one who stayed with me for a lifetime. When the car stopped in front of our house, I said goodbye to my parents. I wanted to say a final farewell to Ryan alone. The house was unusually quiet, completely empty. I opened my phone and saw Lily's latest post. "Thank you, Mr. Parker, for the porridge. It was amazing. Best gift for my 1-year work anniversary." In the picture, Ryan was wearing a brand new bracelet as he gently fed Lily spoonfuls of porridge. My heart twisted in pain. Those hands that once made porridge just for me now belonged to another woman. Suppressing the bitterness inside me, I slowly untied the red string bracelet I had worn on my left wrist for 8 years. The next morning, I was awakened by some noise before I even got out of bed. It was Ryan. He had returned. After taking a shower, he walked out of the bathroom and, seeing I was awake, explained casually, "Lily wasn't feeling well last night, so I stayed over on the couch at her place. That's why I didn't come back." I looked up at his left wrist. The new bracelet was back on. Ryan glanced at me with a guilty look, then quickly switched to a defensive tone. "Lily was thankful I took care of her yesterday. She wanted to give me something expensive, but I didn't take it. This bracelet, she made it on a whim. I didn't want to offend her by refusing. It's nothing valuable." "You're not jealous over a bracelet, are you? Was it that hard to refuse? Or was he simply unwilling to?" I didn't want to argue. I just pulled open a drawer and handed him the resignation letter I had already prepared. "Ryan, can you sign this?" He reached for it and asked, "What's this?" But just as he was about to look at the resignation form, his phone rang, the custom ringtone he had set for Lily. He quickly picked it up. "Mr. Parker, hurry up. I'm already downstairs." Her cheerful voice rang clearly from the other end. Ryan responded with a short "coming," then rushed to throw on his clothes and head out. As he walked past me, he noticed I was still standing there watching him. With visible irritation, he snatched the resignation form from my hand and signed it without even glancing at it. "Don't bring work matters home anymore." Just as he stepped out of the bedroom, he turned back and tossed his dirty laundry at me. "I've got a meeting outside today. Won't be going into the office. Wash these clothes for me. I need them tomorrow. I'll bring you a gift tonight." Then he left without another word. All those clothes had been chosen by Lily. I had once picked out a set for him too, but he'd dismissed my taste as tacky and stuffed them into the back of the closet to collect dust. Not long after, Lily bought him a nearly identical outfit, and now that's his favorite thing to wear. Maybe it wasn't about the clothes. Maybe it was just about who picked them. I bent down and picked up the red string he had accidentally knocked to the floor on his way out. I looked at it for a second, then tossed it straight into the trash. That afternoon, I submitted my resignation letter to the HR manager. She looked at me in panic. "Ms. Evans, I don't have the authority to approve this. You've played a huge role in building this company. If you leave, I can't explain it to Mr. Parker." She knew how much I had contributed and clearly wanted to stop me. "Does Mr. Parker even know you're resigning? This has his signature." She looked at the form over and over again, still hesitating. Finally, she called Ryan right in front of me. "Mr. Parker, I have something to report. Miss Evans, she's resigning." "Ryan, hurry up and take the photo. I've been waiting forever." Lily's voice came through loud and clear from the other end. Ryan responded to her, then spoke into the phone. "If she wants to resign, let her. Don't ask me." And then he hung up. The HR manager sighed deeply and reluctantly signed off on my resignation. As I held the approved resignation form in my hands, a notification popped up on my phone. Lily had tagged me directly in a new post. "Thank you, Ryan, for taking me to the amusement park and for snapping such pretty pictures of me. Mwah." Her little act of provocation couldn't have been more obvious. I didn't respond. Just as I was about to close the app, another message came in from Ryan. "I promised Lily yesterday I'd take her out. Gotta keep my word. Besides, Mr. Lin personally asked me to. It's perfect for the Lin family's business event. Don't misunderstand. Just set a time with your parents. I'll meet them tomorrow." He had promised to meet my parents 27 times, and each time he broke that promise. Yet someone else asked just once, and he showed up. Now he was bringing up meeting my parents for the 28th time. But I no longer wanted him to. That evening, as I was packing my things, Ryan came home earlier than usual. He spotted the suitcase beside me and narrowed his eyes. "You going on a business trip?" I nodded lightly without saying a word. "Where to? How come I didn't hear anything about it?" His eyes scanned the messy room, and he looked uncomfortable. In the past, no matter how tired or busy I was, I always made sure to tidy up the place exactly how he liked it. But now, something felt off to him. He looked around in frustration, and then his gaze landed on my left hand, where the familiar red string was now gone. He froze, then suddenly grabbed my wrist. "Where's your red thread?" I pulled my hand away and answered flatly, "I lost it." That red thread was something we got together when we knelt at the temple of the matchmaker on our 1-year anniversary. He knew how much it meant to me. Ryan's expression softened a little. "It's fine. You wore it for so many years anyway. No big deal if it's gone. I'll get you a diamond one next time." He clearly misunderstood what I meant and didn't catch the weight behind my words. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small gift box. "I remembered I said I'd get you something. Here, do you like it?" I glanced at it. It was a souvenir he bought earlier that day at the amusement park with Lily. Ryan smiled, clearly impatient but still made the gesture. It surprised me. He never bothered with gifts before. I looked at him, confused. Then he hesitated, seeming unsure of how to start. "Could you give up your office for Lily? I want to promote her and give her a private office, but she said the one we picked was too far from mine. She'd rather use yours. It's a bit small for you anyway, but it's just right for her." I laughed bitterly inside. So that random little gift had already come with a hidden price tag. "Sure," I said calmly. "I'm leaving anyway. You can give her whichever office you want." You're okay with it?" Ryan clearly hadn't expected me to agree so easily. He looked at me, surprised, a flicker of confusion in his eyes. "Lily's always admired you," he added, as if trying to make it up to me. "And now, seeing how reasonable you are, she'll probably like you even more." Then, almost as if trying to patch things up, he said again, "Go ahead and contact your parents. I'll meet them with you." But we were leaving tomorrow. Just then, Lily called again. Ryan looked at the screen, hung up, and gave me a slightly guilty look. She twisted her ankle, said it hurts a lot. Her dad's on a business trip and she's his only daughter. I can't just ignore her. He grabbed his coat and was heading out the door but paused to look back at me. "If you mind, I won't go." I smiled faintly. "I don't mind. Go ahead." Hearing that, Ryan looked relieved. "I'm glad you understand. I'll be back tonight. Just text your parents and set a time. 3 o'clock tomorrow, okay? No matter what happens, I'll be there." But Ryan never came home that night. The next morning, the private car my parents arranged had already arrived at the door. I had cleared the house of anything that belonged to me and rolled my suitcase to the car. Just as I got in, I saw Lily's newest post pop up, and she had tagged me again. The first photo was the nameplate on an office door, with her name enlarged and centered. The second photo was of Ryan having dinner with Lily and her parents. Meeting the parents. Success in love and career. What more could a girl want? And just like that, a message from Ryan came through. "Something came up last minute, let's cancel the meeting for now." I whispered to myself, "It's fine. We were never going to meet anyway. No need, Ryan, I've already resigned. I'm flying to Paris. After today, we won't be seeing each other again." I sent him one final message, and was about to turn off my phone, but the chat window, which had been silent for so long, suddenly started buzzing uncontrollably. His texts came pouring in like a flood. If this had happened before, I would have been over the moon. Ryan barely ever texted me. A bombardment like this, good or bad, would have made me happy. But now, none of it mattered. I blocked and deleted his number, shut off my phone without hesitation, picked up my suitcase, and boarded the plane. After arriving in Paris, I joined a new company arranged by my parents. I had expected to face rejection, maybe even suspicion of nepotism. But instead, I was greeted with warm enthusiasm. "You're that Emma Evans who beat Leo back in college? I can't believe our company managed to recruit you. Emma, you have to sign something for me. It's been years. Where have you been all this time? I've been waiting forever for your next design. You just disappeared. I thought maybe you'd gone into hiding in the mountains or something." One of my coworkers was just saying this when Leo gently tapped their head. "Watch your mouth," he said, then turned to me and extended his hand. "Welcome aboard, Emma." I froze for a second, then softly shook his hand. I used to be a fashion designer with real talent. I had earned numerous awards and accolades. If it hadn't been for Ryan, if I hadn't stayed to support his career, my life might have turned out very differently. But thankfully, it wasn't too late. Under Leo's lead, the company even held a welcome party for me. Here, I was no longer just the woman behind Ryan. Here, Emma Evans belonged to herself. Here, I succeeded on my own terms. After a few rounds of drinks, my phone started vibrating again, non-stop. Most of it was from Ryan, trying to reach me through any channel that wasn't blocked. "Emma, when did you start playing these childish games? I told you I had an emergency. Why did you have to drag me off to meet your parents at that exact moment? We're gonna get married anyway. Was that drama really necessary? No one else is like you. You just love putting on a show." I had already decided to let go, but reading those words still brought a sharp ache to my chest. All these years of love, what a waste. He was the one who insisted on meeting my parents. But somehow, keeping his promises to Lily was easy. When it came to me, I was always the one being set aside, and every time it was the same excuse. "Lily is different. She's still just a girl. We're getting married eventually. What's the rush?" Leo must have noticed my change in mood and walked over with concern. "Emma, are you okay? Not enjoying the food?" Startled, I quickly locked my phone screen and forced a smile. "No, it's really good." I didn't want anyone to know just how small and pathetic I used to be. Maybe everyone picked up on the shift in my energy because the welcome party soon wrapped up early. I politely declined Leo's offer to walk me home. Everyone kept saying I'd once beaten him, but I honestly had no memory of it. Either way, it felt more appropriate to keep some professional distance from my new boss. Back at home, I reopened my phone. Ryan's messages had taken a sharp turn. "Emma Evans, you'd better come back here. You left behind a mess. Who's supposed to clean it up? Are your parents even that important? Just meet them whenever. It's not like we're married yet. Don't act like a diva." I couldn't help but laugh. After 9 years, he still thought my parents were just optional. Without hesitation, I pulled out the SIM card, snapped it in half, and went to the telecom store downstairs to get a new one. Aside from my parents, there was no one else I needed to stay in touch with. The so-called close friends I once had all drifted away, mostly because of Ryan. Looking back now, it was laughable. With the new number, Ryan could no longer contact me. My life finally started to feel peaceful again. After I left, Ryan had a rough time. The incomplete handover made work chaotic, and it took him a while to sort everything out. At the moment, he was sitting in his office, lashing out in frustration. "How is it that the moment Emma Evans leaves, all of you turn into useless idiots? Can't do a damn thing. And who the hell approved her resignation? Get the HR manager in here." Ryan was fuming, and even Lily didn't dare provoke him. The HR manager nervously explained how I had resigned that day. Step by step, Ryan's heart sank. That day, he'd been busy taking Lily to the amusement park. He hadn't paid any attention to what the manager said. Now regret was all over his face. "Emma Evans, don't think that just because you quit and blocked me, I won't be able to find you." A wave of panic hit Ryan. He had always believed that no matter what he did, I would forgive him. When we were younger, I'd still throw little tantrums, and he'd coax me patiently. But every time I saw his eyes bloodshot from working so late for the company, my heart would ache. I stopped crying. I stopped complaining. I stopped asking for anything. I did everything I could to be the perfect woman behind him, so he could focus entirely on his career, without worrying about me. And it was because of that. Ryan began to change. Maybe I was wrong all along. I shouldn't have bent over backward just to accommodate him. Lily stood by silently, too scared to speak. After a while, she finally opened her mouth in a timid voice. "Ryan, don't worry, I can be just like Emma. I can do just as well. Let me take her place. I can handle it." Ryan almost laughed out loud. He knew exactly what Lily was capable of or not capable of. But after a pause, he still went ahead and gave her the title of vice president. And made a big show of it in the media. Even in faraway Paris, my colleagues heard about it. I never tried to hide my past, and soon enough everything about me and Ryan was dug up. Emma was with him for 9 years. And this is how he treats her. He literally insulted her in front of the media. She gave so much to that company, and in the end he had the nerve to say she wasn't even qualified. The side chick got promoted. Disgusting. Don't be sad, Emma. A guy like that isn't worth your tears. I smiled helplessly. He's just an ex. Not worth all this drama. But the truth was, Lily taking my place didn't even surprise me. I still knew Ryan. This was just his way of trying to make me come back. To stay by his side, I, a fashion design major, had pushed myself to study finance and business. After years of hard work, I earned the position of vice president. I became his most trusted partner. That role, I fought tooth and nail to get. And now, he handed it to someone else with barely a thought. Did Ryan really think I still cared like I used to? When we were younger, he used to do this all the time, give the things I cared about to others on purpose, just to make me jealous. Once I got upset and went to him about it, he'd sweet-talk me or give me some reward. Ryan always played games like that. He thought it proved I cared, that I loved him. But I don't love him anymore. That position, he can give it to whoever he wants. And from now on, I won't be the one standing by his side. All those childish tricks, I just find them immature now. A cold can of soda pressed against my face, pulling me out of my thoughts. It was Leo, holding out an ice-cold Coke. Need me to get revenge for you? What? I blinked and took the can, a little stunned. You're part of my team now, he said casually. And I always take care of my people. His words, my people, caught me off guard. It was such a casual thing to say, yet it made me blush. My face warmed unexpectedly. Besides my parents, no one had stood so unconditionally by my side in a long time. I could never be like Lily, all soft and delicate. In my last job, I always seemed serious, like I didn't belong in the little happy bubble of Ryan and Lily's world. I was the outsider, the excess piece. But Leo's words made me smile. I'm not the petty type. What's there to take revenge for? Right now, anything about him. I didn't care at all. After Lily was promoted to vice president, her workload doubled. But since she had made big promises, she had no choice but to stay late and push herself to meet expectations. I had seen Lily's resume before. There was nothing remarkable about it. She only got into the company because she was the daughter of one of our partner company's vice presidents. What's going on with today's data report? Ryan's voice cut coldly through the middle of a team member's presentation. The room suddenly grew tense. Lily immediately stepped forward. Ryan? But before she could finish, Ryan shot her a piercing glare. Normally, he would have indulged her, but lately the sloppy project proposals and increasingly bizarre data reports had drained what little patience he had left. Lily's heart skipped a beat. She quickly changed her tone. Mr. Parker, don't blame them. It's my fault. I was looking at investment properties and noticed another site was a bit cheaper, so I adjusted the numbers. That's why they're inconsistent with the previous reports. As Ryan stared her down, Lily's voice grew softer and softer. He pinched the bridge of his nose in frustration and looked at her again. Her eyes were brimming with grievance, her expression pitiful. But Ryan just let out a cold laugh, his anger bubbling up. Who gave you the nerve to change the investment plan on your own? Don't you know that cheaper plot is near a site with nuclear contamination? And you're the vice president? That land was part of a major project I've been tracking for a long time. If things had gone smoothly, it likely would have succeeded. And now, because of one decision from you, everything's gone to hell. Just like that? The perfect image Ryan had worked so hard to maintain in front of Lily, the warm and commanding CEO, crumbled. He'd always known Lily wasn't capable, but still gave her partial authority because of her coquettish requests. He figured she'd mess up eventually, but he also assumed he'd be there to clean up whatever mess she made. I'll fix it when I'm back, he thought at the time. Ryan had that kind of confidence. He thought I'd never really leave him. But after all this time, with no sign of me returning, the moment Lily changed the plan on her own, his growing unease reached its peak. Because the investment deal ultimately fell through, Ryan removed Lily from her position. When the news hit the media, even my coworkers in Paris were celebrating. See? Guys who cherish their women thrive. Guys who screw them over? Total losers. I knew karma would catch up to him eventually. What are you talking about? Emma never even married that jerk. Exactly. They weren't even married. I rested my chin in my hand and shook my head with a helpless smile. These gossipy colleagues. I really wasn't as fragile as they thought. I had already let it all go. Leo, who should have been in a meeting, suddenly showed up in the work area. He casually handed me a small paper bag. It was my favorite, egg tarts. So, feeling any better? Yeah, thanks, for the egg tart. Some of the colleagues nearby gave me exasperated looks like I was hopeless. I blinked in confusion. What was the big deal about an egg tart? Then Leo's assistant, apparently unable to hold back, finally spoke up. Emma, Leo's been pulling all-nighters these past few days just to defend you. He even ended up in the hospital on an IV for 2 days, and when we offered to help, do you know what he said? He said she's mine to protect. So it was Leo who exposed the fact that Lily had tampered with the investment plan. My hand trembled slightly as I held the egg tart, stunned. I opened my mouth, but under the weight of emotion, my throat tightened. I couldn't get a word out. Leo gently patted my back, his voice calm and reassuring. Are you upset? I shook my head hard, but the tears came anyway. I couldn't hold them back. Why was he being so good to me? We weren't even that close. And yet after everything, after dinner, I took the initiative to ask Leo out. Why are you helping me? My guarded tone made a flash of hurt appear in his expression. You beat me in design once. Do you remember that? I shook my head, a little guilty. Everyone kept saying I had beaten Leo before, but I had no memory of it. Leo smiled, pulled a bracelet from his pocket, and held it up. The tiny fish charm on it instantly pulled me back to that design competition years ago. It was the first international competition I entered after graduating college. Just as expected, I won first place. The runner-up was a chubby boy, or at least that's how I remembered it. A boy. As I was leaving the venue and heading back to the hotel, I saw him surrounded by a group of people mocking him. A fat loser like you wants to be a designer? You look disgusting, seriously gross. A group of them pointed fingers and hurled insults. From their conversation, I quickly pieced together what had happened. Each school had only one nomination slot, and his school had chosen him over the others. These were the classmates who didn't get picked. And now that he hadn't won the championship, they blamed it all on his appearance. If I had gone instead, we would have taken first place. You only lost because you're fat. No judge is giving high scores to someone who looks like that. You don't even know how to dress yourself. How can you design clothes for anyone else? The teacher made a huge mistake choosing you. Their words got nastier and nastier. Maybe it was my youthful impulse or just my sense of justice, but I couldn't stand by and watch. I didn't care how many of them there were. I stormed over and confronted them. If you're so talented, why didn't your teacher recommend you for the competition? Other than being skinny, how are you better than him? I gave the chubby boy a dramatic once-over. Honestly, your outfit is hideous, seriously next-level ugly. The crowd grew angrier. One of the girls lunged toward me to grab my hair, but I dodged easily. Did I hit a nerve? I smirked. I'm the champion, remember? Clearly the judges and I have similar taste. And the way you all look, like toads in a swamp, no one wants to see that. They had numbers on their side, so I kicked the ringleader hard, grabbed the boy's hand, and ran. So, you were that little chubby second-place guy, I said now looking at Leo. You've changed a lot. Seeing him now brought back memories of my over-the-top, hot-headed self back then. It was embarrassing. To encourage him back then, I had given him a bracelet with a little koi charm on it. So what if you're chubby? You're still adorable and incredibly talented. Don't listen to their nonsense. I brought this koi charm from home. It's supposed to bring good luck. Here, take it. I wouldn't have won without you pushing me. Now it's your turn. Let it bring you a win next time. I had been in a rush to get back to the hotel, so after he thanked me, I left in a hurry. Leo looked at me now with gentle eyes. After that, he started winning every competition he entered. His weight began to drop, probably from catching a cold or something, but it kept coming off. All these years, he had been looking for the girl who gave him that lucky koi. Because without Emma Evans, he might have died. What I didn't know was that back then, he had been planning to throw himself into a river after the event. The girl with the koi charm had pulled him from the edge and left a mark on his soul. Of course, Leo never told me any of this. He just smiled and said, "Yeah, I've lost a lot of weight. No wonder you didn't recognize me. I've kept your koi all these years, just to find you again. You Chinese believe in repaying kindness, right? I'd even marry you if that's what it took." Seeing the shock on my face, he quickly added, "Just kidding." Then he gently helped wipe away the water I had choked on out of surprise. Back in the city, after Ryan had stripped Lily of her title, he fell into a deep slump. Returning to his home, now eerily quiet, he stared blankly at the familiar decor. I hadn't moved a single thing. Every object there still held traces of Ryan. If I had stayed and looked at all that, remembering the past, I would have lost my appetite completely. He picked up the incense stick on the table, staring at it, lost in thought. Even though his life was objectively improving, Ryan's health started to show signs of decline. He became anxious more easily. He had trouble sleeping. I had agonized over it for so long. That incense was something I had learned to make specifically for Ryan. The elderly master who made it was already advanced in age, and his production couldn't keep up with Ryan's constant use. I didn't want to see Ryan suffer from his worsening insomnia, so I approached the master and asked him to teach me, but every time I was turned away. "No women," he'd say. "Only passed down to men." So I kept showing up whenever I had free time. I cleaned his home, did his laundry, cooked his meals, told him stories to pass the time. Over a long period, he gradually warmed up to me. "If you're willing to climb from the foot of the mountain and bow to each generation of incense masters along the way," he finally said, "I'll make an exception and teach you." "Really?" I looked at him, eyes wide with disbelief. The old man gently patted my head. "Better hurry, or I might change my mind. If you hadn't been so determined, I wouldn't bother passing this craft on." So I started from the foot of the mountain, bowing all the way up. It took 2 full hours. Back then, Ryan was with me the entire time. "Emma, enough," he said. "It's just a little insomnia. I can deal with it." But he remembered the determination in my eyes that day. And now, as he looked at the incense on the table, a sharp ache gripped his heart. It was his body, yet I had cared more about it than he did. Staring at the incense, Ryan was filled with regret. Just then, his phone rang. "Mr. Parker, we've located her." Upon learning that I was in Paris, Ryan immediately ordered his assistant to book a flight. Just as he stepped out the door, he ran into Lily. Lately, he had been ignoring her, and it had started to make her uneasy. After much hesitation, she had finally come to apologize. "What are you doing here?" Ryan's voice was flat, tinged with irritation. "Ryan, I just came to say I'm sorry," Lily said softly. "About the land deal, I messed up. I'll work harder. I want to be better than Emma." Ryan sneered, his tone dripping with contempt. "You could work for decades and still never catch up to Emma." Lily's face paled with shock. Ryan, who once would have pulled the stars from the sky for her, had changed so completely she could hardly recognize him. "What's wrong with you?" she whimpered. "Didn't you say you like me? Emma's gone now, we can be together. I only made one small mistake and I've already apologized. Why are you still being so mean to me?" Tears welled in her eyes as she clung to Ryan's arm, swaying slightly as she tried to act cute. "Enough. You're exhausting." Ryan's voice turned cold. "If you didn't look a little like the younger Emma, someone like you never would have made it into my company. Don't push it. Get lost." He shoved her off and headed straight for the airport. I was out buying groceries when I ran into Ryan. The moment I saw him, I instinctively turned to leave, but he grabbed my wrist and stopped me. "Emma," he said, gripping my hand, "it's been so long. Isn't it time to let the anger go?" I let out a cold laugh. "Anger? I was never angry, Ryan." His brows furrowed slightly. "You're still upset about the time I didn't meet your parents, aren't you? Let's go now. They're in Paris, right? I brought a lot of gifts. I'll make sure they get a good impression of me." Still clutching my hand tightly, he rambled on like he could fix everything with good intentions and empty promises. I couldn't hold back anymore. I slapped him across the face. "Ryan, we broke up. I'm not introducing you to my parents." The slap snapped him back to reality, and he finally let go of my hand. I rubbed my wrist, clearly annoyed, but then I heard his voice again. This time, it really was my fault. "I've already fired Lily. Your position has always been here. Come back with me." "Ryan," I said, staring him down, "what makes you think that just because you want me to come back I will? We broke up. We're both doing fine separately. Don't come looking for me, and I won't disturb you and your precious little secretary." He rushed to explain himself. "Emma, don't be mad. I only kept Lily around because she reminded me a little of the younger you. I missed that time." I took a deep breath and steadied my voice. "Ryan, am I dead to you? You had to go look for memories of me in someone else? Don't use me as your excuse for cheating." His eyes turned red. He reached for me as if to pull me into a hug, but before he could touch me, Leo appeared and kicked him hard, sending him stumbling backward. "What kind of creep do you think you are, harassing my girlfriend?" Leo did it on purpose, of course. But honestly, it was the best way to make sure Ryan wouldn't keep pestering me. I leaned into Leo's arms naturally. Ryan picked himself up, complete disarray, his face filled with disbelief. "Boyfriend? Emma, you don't have to grab some random guy just to get back at me. 9 years. We were together for 9 years. Before he could finish, I grabbed Leo's tie, yanked him down, and kissed him." Leo's eyes widened in shock as our lips met. "See that, Ryan?" I said, loud and clear. "He's my boyfriend. I love him. I'm going to marry him. We've already met each other's parents. You didn't want to? That's fine. Someone else does." Ryan staggered back a few steps, visibly shaken, his body trembling. "Emma, this isn't real. It's not, right? You should be with me. Leave him. Come back with me." He tried to grab me again, but Leo shoved him off firmly. If Mr. Parker doesn't know how to cherish something, he doesn't deserve to regret losing it. I looked Ryan in the eye one last time, full of contempt. He'd been hit pretty hard, and didn't chase after me again. "You kissed me just now," Leo said, smirking. "I'm taking it seriously. You'll have to take responsibility." All those months of support from Leo, how could I say I wasn't moved? That moment, I had simply followed my heart. I liked this man, who always looked at me like I was his entire world. "If you keep behaving," I said, teasing, "I might just make it official." Leo lit up with joy, picked me up and spun me around. "I've waited so long for you." After Ryan fired Lily, her father tried helping her get another job, but the land scandal kept resurfacing, and she never lasted more than 3 months before getting let go. Unwilling to give up, Lily went to Ryan again, only for him to set her up and have her sent to prison. On the day Leo and I got married, Ryan was hit by a car, driven by Lily's father, and rushed to the hospital. His condition was critical, his survival uncertain. News outlets everywhere reported on it. But what did that have to do with me? It was the life he chose. Leo and I, on the other hand, joined forces and soon became major figures in the fashion world. A few years later, we had a child. Even then, Leo never stopped loving me the way he always had. He wasn't Ryan. He was my Leo. He didn't stop loving me because I changed. How lucky we were that we didn't meet too late.